Welcome to Winning from Trichotillomania, a podcast inspiration series that is proudly offered to you by Getting Better. Have you ever wondered or thought of the act of pulling out hair as, well, maybe just a little strange? Because how can it be that you do something that you no longer want to do? Now, here is our invitation. Simply change the word strange into fascinating. It's just one word, but it may open the door to new learnings and understandings that can help you change your life and take it to a whole new level. And now, here is your host for this show and the founder of treatmentfortrichotillomania.com, Rick van Bastelaar.
Hi, Rick van Bastelaar here, and welcome in this second episode of the podcast series called Winning from Trichotillomania. Now, this second episode is, again, as far as I'm concerned, a very special episode because it's an interview with someone that I recently did through Skype that we helped in the process of moving towards freedom from trichotillomania. Now, her name is Nicola, and you will start to hear the interview right after this introduction by myself. There will be a short music break, and then the interview will start. And you will hear a lot of wonderful insights. But there's one thing that I wanted to point out right from the start in this introduction for you. Now, this is something that Nicola referred to as half of the battle in your process of moving towards freedom from trichotillomania yourself. And it's something you have to do yourself. Now, if you haven't applied it yet, it can't work for you. If you apply it, you can discover how it can work for you as well. Now, it's an important principle as far as I'm concerned. I know there were times in my life where I wanted to change, and that change, took ages. Sometimes it took almost 10 years in order to make the change that I wanted to. And it had to do with everything that was taking place in my mind in a way that we call subconsciously. So without consciously being aware of what I was thinking. But sometimes, what I was thinking didn't really empower me. And then once I was able to, make the change happen, I started to think differently and, more importantly, started to act differently with what I thought. Now, again, Nicola is sharing what she considers to be half of the battle. So it's a very important principle as far as I'm concerned. And I know it can be challenging to apply it in your own life if you suffer from this behavior. But with my whole heart, I do encourage you to apply it the way she did so you can discover how it can work for you as well on your way towards freedom and a better quality of life. So that's the introduction for today. Enjoy the interview. And I wish you a wonderful day here from the Netherlands. All good wishes. Thank you, Nicola, for being on the call.
You're welcome.
To get straight to the point, we helped you in order to take control over hair pulling. Now, you did that for quite some time, and you were pleased. You wanted to help. So I said, well, I'd love to give you a call to hear in your words and share it with others. So a little bit of your background. How long had you pulled your hair, and what had you tried in the past trying to overcome this?
Sorry, say that again. You broke up there for a second.
Okay, so for how long had you pulled? What I will do, I will switch off the camera.
Okay.
And probably you should do the same thing.
Should I turn my camera off?
Yes,
okay.
I think that's better for bandwidth.
Okay. Turn video. Okay,
yeah.
There we go.
So my question is, for how long had you pulled out your hair before you contacted us?
Since I was 13, so I'm 27 now. So that's almost 16 years.
Right. Now, and I know you had tried other things in the past as well, trying to overcome this. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, when I ask this question, and I say this for everyone listening to this, I always say it's not the truth, but it's your experience. So I'm not saying what didn't work for you could not work for someone else.
Yeah.
But on the other side, by sharing, what works and what doesn't, we can inspire others and put them on the path to freedom as well. So
yes.
What had you tried in the past that apparently didn't work for you to control this behavior?
I tried various things. I never tried something quite as serious. Well, I tried one course before that was held by a lady who's from America, but the course didn't it was a very long, very extensive course. It was for about 6 or 7 months, and it required a lot of time and a lot of input, and it took a lot of time going into your childhood and suppressed memories and all of that type of stuff. And I just at the time, I think it. I mean, and apparently she's helped a lot of people, and I totally believe her. But at the time, I wasn't in the position to give myself to a course like that. It took up too much of my time. Nobody knew about this problem, so I had a new boyfriend. I couldn't spend an hour a day doing, work on myself when nobody knew what I was actually doing. So it was the wrong time for me, and it wouldn't have worked, to be honest. Various other things as well, sort of trying to, I don't know, you know how you do something you don't like and you scold yourself and you go, okay, no, this is the last time. This is the last time. And it was just basically trying to suppress the behavior without any, I didn't give myself any sort of positive outcome. I was just like, no, stop it. You shouldn't be doing this. It's not right. It's not normal. It's not normal. And obviously that failed miserably, as I'm sure you know it would. But yeah, I mean, this is by far the most successful experience I've had.
Okay, so you tried, to summarize this, you tried help through a program in the past that had to do with going back to your childhood. It wasn't the right timing for you.
Yeah.
And you tried to do it on your own. Did you try other things, or were these mainly the two types of efforts you tried in the past to control this behavior?
These were mainly the two sort of types of efforts that I tried. I did a lot of research. I didn't actually know that this was a real thing that other people had until probably about 5 years ago. So I was probably living in the dark. So before that point, I was just like, keep it secret, don't let anybody find out, and just deal with it. That's fine. And then sort of when I moved to England, I had a really boring day at work, and I did research on it, and that's when I found out that, oh my God, there's actually other people in the world that have this. And then in that, I've sort of found out that some people take certain medications, some people take amino acids, blah, 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 blah. So I ordered some amino acids, and I tried that, but yeah, I mean, that didn't really make much of a difference, to be honest. So yeah, these are probably the two that I've tried the most in my.
Well, taking medicines is something that I hear a lot, that I've never discovered this to work to control this behavior. So now, before we elaborate on what you did with us, what was the main reason for you wanting to overcome this behavior? And I say this with due respect, because who am I to say that someone should, do anything in their life? But what motivated you to put in the effort and leave this behavior behind and walk towards freedom and free yourself from this? So what motivated you to do that? And it seems an obvious question, but say it in your own words, and what was the driver for you to change this?
The biggest motivation for me probably was that I told my boyfriend about it. And it sounds crazy that I've been in a relationship with him for almost 6 years, and he had no idea that this was even a thing in my life. And the one night I just decided I have to tell him. I have to, because we live together. He sees me all the time. My moods are up and down. I don't often give him much explanation for that. And then I just decided I need to just tell him. And I told him, and it was actually his encouragement, where he said, well, I don't care how much it costs, and I don't care what it takes, but we're gonna have to fix this.
So are you saying that it also infected you, the way you felt, and as a result how you acted in the relationship itself?
Yes.
Right. So the reason why I address this is because most people think it has to do with what's visible on the outside. But what I've discovered after now almost 9 years helping people with this behavior, that is more motivating to what it's doing on the inside, and then change that, right?
Right.
Okay. So now tell me in your words, because you registered for the program, Trichotillomania Transformation Intensive. How was this different to everything you've tried before?
I'm very into meditating, sort of as it is. It's something that is a part of my life, and I'd never done a course that incorporated incorporated this, and I mean, I suppose the aspects of the course is a bit of meditation and a bit of visualization and all of that kind of thing, and I resonate quite closely with that aspect. I think it's because I truly believe that it is something that works. I believe that meditation is something that helps people tremendously, and I think I just started to believe in it.
Good.
Yeah.
So
I'll be honest,
now,
in the beginning, I didn't really, after I paid for it, I was a little bit skeptical, if I'm honest. I didn't really think it was gonna do anything, because I just thought, well, this just seems too simple, it just seemed too simple. But actually looking at it now, simple is sometimes better. Sometimes just laying it out as it is better than delving into your childhood and suppressed memories, and then I don't know. I find that all too complicated,
So for everyone listening to this, so how intensely did you pull? I think, if I recall correctly, you pulled on average 4 times each day before you started, which is almost 6 weeks ago now, right?
Yes.
On a daily basis,
Yes.
on average, right?
Yes.
Now, how is it since you've gone through the program and joined the breakthrough session? How's your behavior?
Oh, it's changed. It's gone. It went before the breakthrough session. It went actually when I started doing the exercises and the visualizations. And I think once I started doing it, I decided that I have to believe in this, and I have to believe that it's going to work. And it did. And after the first sort of 2 days of doing the exercises, I started to notice a rapid decline and an almost stop, and almost immediately it just disappeared. It's weird. I can't really explain it.
Well, let me try to explain it. I mean, still after almost 9 years, when I've helped so many people, and then sometimes people ask up front, what is it that I'm going to do? And then I try to do my best. I try to explain it as good as I can. And I never succeed 100%. And I'm sure you can't either, because at the end of the day, it's a matter of doing. But in my words, and see if you can agree on this or put it in your own words. But it has everything to do with, at the core of this behavior is the build up, the urge for having to pull. That's a feeling inside that builds up unconsciously. Now, as human beings, we do a lot of things unconsciously, and sometimes these can be great things. For example, if you suddenly feel wonderful by seeing someone, that's wonderful. But if you suddenly feel lousy by seeing someone without understanding why, then it can be a problem. So we do a lot of things both consciously and subconsciously, but the majority of everything that we do as humans is happening unconsciously, like, the blinking of your eyes. Now, learning to change this behavior, moving towards freedom, has everything to do with changing those subconscious patterns. And it's actually great fun. And it's something we seldom learn in school, but you do it by, let's say, exercises. So you refer to meditation. As far as I'm concerned, there is no meditation in it, but then again, language is a beautiful thing. One person calls something, meditation, and another person calls something completely different.
Yeah.
So to me, there are exercises in the program to help you change those subconscious patterns that either directly or indirectly lead to or stimulate hair pulling.
Yeah.
And changing those can actually go very quickly. Now, try to do it in your words. Those are my words, a bit technical, but it's just, doing exercises to change the behavior up front, not waiting till the urge is very strong.
Yeah, I think also when, the way that I think about it is, when you do something that is destructive and you do something that is, that you don't want to do it, but you do it anyway, often you don't see what the long-term consequences are of continuing on to do that behavior. So it's just right now. Oh, I shouldn't do this right now. And you kind of scold yourself. You don't give yourself the bigger picture, which is what this program does. It makes you see the bigger picture, and it makes you look far into the future, and you kind of actually just sit and go, shit, actually, there are real ramifications for carrying on with a behavior that is destructive. But then on the flip side, there are real positive ramifications for stopping a behavior like this. And I feel like that was the biggest push for me, was when I could actually visualize how good it would be if this all just disappeared, if this all just went away. And and I could actually potentially have this amazing life and this amazing confidence and this amazing everything, and I feel like that's an important sort of powerful key part of the exercise, is seeing actually long term how it's going to negatively impact all aspects of your life.
So, did something change in you when you went through the online learning environment before the breakthrough session that you define as seeing the bigger picture?
Yeah, I mean, when you do the visualization exercises and you have to picture yourself in the last year of your life, and you've never changed this behavior, and nobody comes onto a course like this because they're feeling fantastic. Do you know what I mean? Like, people come onto a course like this because they feel lost and they feel desperate and they feel like they need to do something. And if you take those feelings and look, I don't know, 50 years in the future, and those feelings have not only not disappeared, but they've got worse, that's quite a big eye-opener. It's quite a big eye-opening experience to see yourself 50 years in the future and go, oh shit, I really don't like what I see,
I'm so pleased for you addressing this, because I call this the first important step for learning to overcome trichotillomania. This is what the whole online learning environment is about, right?
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think that, give me the tools, give me the answer to how do you stop this behavior. But do you think that first important step is actually at least as important as learning how to control this behavior itself?
Do you mean the first important step of seeing yourself in the future? Yeah.
Yes. That part. So this is, as far as I'm concerned, this is what I learned as I, started to grow, attending trainings throughout the world with how we do behavior, that it's very important at a cellular level, subconsciously, to be aware, in every cell of our bodies, why we want something. Because at the end of the day, it's you that has to do what we offer to you in order to set yourself free. The same is true for me if I want to grow in any area of my life. And that's the whole reason why the online learning environment is very much about that, with 3 powerful exercises to help you do that, which you can probably use in other areas of your life as well if you want to grow there as well.
Yes, I agree.
But I love your wording, seeing the bigger picture. I call that the foundation of success for anything you want in life. And those 3 exercises to me are key to set yourself up for success. And so now the program is pretty much helping you to work towards a breakthrough session that we do with a web class through a webinar.
Yeah.
And now we had great challenges before we had this call to record this through a webinar, so we referred it to Skype. But how was that for you to attend that class through a webinar and then get the replay afterwards, and the way it was structured? How was that?
It was fine. It worked a lot better than this evening. It was absolutely fine. It was I've never worked through a webinar before, but it's a very easy sort of thing to use to be able to get your message across to a lot of people.
And did you felt cared for, that should you need help personally from me or one of my colleagues, that help would be available?
Yes, yeah, always.
So, okay, so now you said you were skeptical in the beginning, and now you have the experience that you can do it, right?
Yeah.
So what convinced you? So may I ask you, what do you think? Do you think that other people who suffer from this behavior are able to overcome this as well?
Yes, I do.
So now, in your words, now you have the experience, tell them why you think this is possible.
I think it's possible because I did it. And for someone to do the same destructive behavior for almost 16 years, and I really didn't ever think that I would. I honestly sometimes got to a point where I thought, this is just never going to go away. This is just going to have to be something that I'm going to manage. This is not going to be something that I can get rid of. And I did, and it worked. And it's as simple as that. There's not much more to it. I can't explain it. It's weird. It's like magic.
So now, tell the flip side to anyone listening to this, how your life has changed in a positive way as a result.
I don't know. I think subconsciously this behavior has always impacted on my confidence, and for some reason, and it obviously is due to overcoming this and dealing with it, I feel less anxious, and I've generally, since as long as I can remember, I've been quite an anxious person, and I feel less anxious, and I feel more in control, and I feel like it's probably because I don't have this thing hanging over my head where I'm actually not in control of my own body. I actually feel like now I've got control of everything. I don't have my hands just doing whatever they want and going wherever they want and pulling my hair out, and then I don't know what's going on. I know that I'm in control of myself, and that's a yeah, it's a good feeling.
So what are the positive rewards for having more self-esteem, being in control in various areas of your life? For example, in a relationship, work-wise. So how does that help you to enjoy and perform?
I think I mean, I think when I kind of got over this, I feel a bit more sort of equipped to deal with situations that maybe generally would have overwhelmed me. So I've started a small business that I'm running myself, and it all happened very quickly over Easter weekend, and I was really busy, and I didn't really know whether I was going to be able to deliver to my clients what I had promised I would deliver. And I think the normal Nicola I would get really overwhelmed, and I would freak out, and I would be really, really stressed. And I just felt myself being like, you're just going to have to do it. And I was so much more in control of that situation than I think I would have been had I not dealt with this area of my life.
So what did it bring to you in terms of feeling and in terms of performance?
Well, in terms of performance, I think I outperformed myself. And in terms of feeling, I think I just, I feel confident. I feel proud of myself that I can achieve. If I can achieve this, if I can overcome something that I've been doing for 17 years, that's been probably the biggest challenge in my entire life. If I can overcome that, I'm pretty sure that I can overcome, looking after people's animals. You know what I mean?
Now, what about in terms of intimacy in relationships? I mean, an intimacy is a general term, of course. I mean, You're probably more intimate with your boyfriend than you can be intimate with a colleague at work, but there's intimacy as well. So how does it allow you to be more intimate, to be more close, more personal with people?
I think it allows for that. I think it allows you to feel more open, and it allows you, I think confidence is, everything comes down to your confidence. And I think when you feel confident, you stop being, because the problem is when you do something when you do something like trichotillomania, where you don't have control over yourself, you're always against yourself, you're always telling yourself off, you're always scolding yourself. And when you overcome something like that, you're on your side, I'm suddenly on my side, and I'm suddenly defending myself, and I'm suddenly thinking like, oh, I'm cool, like there's good things about me, and it doesn't all get overshadowed by this stupid behavior that just came up out of sort of nowhere. And I think because you are more on your side and you're more confident, it allows for more connection, it allows for more open conversation, rather than feeling, I don't know, self-conscious and feeling, like I'm weird in some way, And I think having the subconscious feeling of I'm weird definitely impacts your initial sort of meetings and relationships and stuff, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does. And but then again, everyone puts it in their own words. So I was all ears. So now you said you were a bit skeptical, and that's probably also the result of disappointments in the past. Before you started with the program. So tell me, what went through your mind, and how did you convince yourself to go for this? Because you did, and as they say, the rest is history. But what was the story you taught yourself to step up and go for it, despite your previous disappointments in the past?
Well, it was partly due to my boyfriend, who said, Oh, sorry, can you hear me, Rick?
Yes, I can. Yes,
Oh,
I'm
okay.
still here.
It was partly because I told my boyfriend, and he was very supportive and very understanding of the situation. And it's quite a weird thing to tell somebody, that you do this behavior. That's very, very strange. And I think that just kind of, I looked into your program 5 years ago, and I just never did it. And I think I remembered from then that there is another person out there who is dealing with this problem other than the lady who I used before. And yeah, I investigated on your website, and then I did the Skype call with you. And to be honest, straight after the Skype call, I wasn't actually going to sign up, to be honest, because I thought, oh, it's money, it's finance, life. Um, but actually, then you Skype called me the next day and basically said, you need to get your ass into gear. Come on. And then I just kind of went, you know what? Let's just do it. Whatever. He's right. If I don't do it today, I'm never going to do it. So yeah, it's actually your doing.
But you could have said no. So what was it for you that finally, through the support of your boyfriend and through my support,
Yeah.
that you said, let's go for it? So what was it, bottom line, that made you realize you wanted to go for it? And you did,
I think it's
after so many years.
I think it's just I mean, you're never the same person you are when you're 13, and that's when I started with all of this. And I think I've just grown up, and I think I've just learned to sort of take responsibility for myself. And then when you said to me, if you don't do it today, you're never going to do it. And I was like, you know what, you're totally right. If I don't do things today and I don't throw myself into stuff, it's not ever going to happen. And I need to just make it happen. And yeah.
So, in your words, if you should have continued the way you were doing before we met, what kind of a life would it lead into, you think, at the end of the day?
I mean, there's endless possibilities of how everything could go wrong, but I mean, confidence was or is still, I mean, it's a work in progress, but I mean, confidence was always a big problem of mine, and there was always an underlying feeling in my mind that there's something weird about me. And it wasn't necessarily that I always thought that people looked at me and thought, oh, she's the girl that pulls her hair out, because nobody knew about it. But I just always had an underlying feeling that there was something weird about me. And I just thought, if I don't change this, I'm just going to permanently feel like I'm this person that everybody thinks is weird. And like my confidence it would stay low. I would miss out on life opportunities, friendships, relationships, jobs. There's endless possibilities that you could miss out on if you don't sort of back yourself up, and you don't go for things.
And now the flip side. So
Yeah.
what can this lead into that you couldn't have before?
Everything.
If you no, so
Yeah.
make it specific, please, for yourself.
Yeah.
So anyone listening to this, and they can make up their own mind. It's
Yeah.
no one can decide for someone else. But now you've experienced it. In your words.
I think just the calm, the sort of calmness in your mind when you get rid of something that is overhanging you permanently for so long. I think it opens you being more present in the moment, and you're not always worried about things. And I think it makes you, for me personally, it's made me feel a lot more sort of, I can just see life as it is. I'm a lot more grateful for my life. I can see myself being more willing to sort of pursue friendships. And I've always said that, like, I feel like I'm on the periphery of my friendship group, and I've got quite a big friendship group. And I can now sort of feel in myself that I don't feel strange to sort of ask people, do you want to be the one, like, do you want to go and have some coffee, or do you want to, just meet up and hang out? Whereas normally that would not be anything that I would do. I would always leave it to somebody else to organize, and then I would go along with, I would never be the one to sort of instigate to do things and to meet up and that kind of thing. So in terms of relationships, it really is changing, because I can be the one that takes charge of relationships and make them turn into relationships that they probably never would have if I've never dealt with it. And it's same with sort of jobs and that kind of thing. Everything takes guts to change your career. It takes guts to apply for jobs that you've never done before. And before, I really struggled with feeling like I just wasn't worth, or I just wasn't capable of doing things differently. Whereas now I'm like, well, if I'm capable of overcoming a behavior that I've done for 17 years, I'm capable of applying for a job, So I think in a lot of aspects, it's made me realize that I'm capable of a lot more than what I initially thought.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Like all of us. So what would you like to say to anyone still struggling with this behavior, who is in, who have to make up their mind what to do about it? What would you, in your words, and you can say anything you want, it's your life, but based on your experience in the 14 years before, in all those years before, and after going through the program, so what would you like to recommend to those people?
Well, I'd probably recommend the first thing that I did, which I probably did way too late, but hey ho, is if you haven't told anybody, tell somebody, because that makes you accountable to somebody. And people are a lot more accepting than you think they are. Everybody's got their shit. Everybody's got something that they don't want people to know, but they kind of want people to know, but they don't want people to know because they're scared that it makes them seem strange. But people are a lot more accepting than you think they are. And find someone you trust and just tell them, and it makes you it's half the battle just being upfront about it. And if you are somebody who people in your life, they do know about it, but you haven't done anything about it yet, just trust in it. Just take a leap of faith. That's all it is, because that's all I had to do. I just had to believe that this program that I'd never even heard of with a guy that I'd never even met was going to work for me. But just, I don't know, take a leap of faith. I mean, what is your freedom worth? Do you know what I mean? Can you put a price on your emotional freedom?
I'm so pleased that you say this. And again, when I say this is not right or wrong. It's not the truth as such, but it's my personal impression that sharing it with your environment, and you have to pick the people careful.
Yes.
So
yes.
It needs to be someone that you feel or know, or you have an intuition that you can trust and will support you.
Yes.
Because that question on your mind, is something wrong with me, that I do something that I don't understand. Yes. That's something that I know after almost 9 years that everyone struggles with. And it was one of the first reports that I wrote in the Netherlands called I have Trichotillomania, is something wrong with me, to confirm that you're completely normal, anyone who's doing this behavior, but at the same time, you'd like to change this. Now, but sharing it is such a challenge for a lot of people, but yeah. I've seen so many examples over the years that just the sharing in itself was where freedom started.
Yes.
Before they actually met me, and you did it with your partner, other people did it with their partner, and it's true for all of us. And I love what you say. This is true for me as well. We all have our shit. We're all our growth in process.
Absolutely.
And I saw one of my grandfathers die the day he didn't have the energy anymore to grow, and that's when he passed away very quickly. So we are all growth in process, and just confirming what is the first thing to start growing, how challenging it may be. And then when sharing it with someone, it can actually become something of, strength and support, like it did for you and many others.
Broke up there for a
Sorry?
Sorry, you broke up there for a second. You're back now. There we go.
No, I said, so sharing it with others,
yeah,
it's not just with you, but I've seen it so many times, and also in my own life, when we step up and, become vulnerable and share it with someone, that will support us.
Yeah.
We grow
by
their support, and then again, yes, the program, but you made it work, and one of the reasons that we help people to make it work is to go through an online environment to have that self drive subconsciously.
Yeah.
But so would you recommend the program to anyone?
Yes, absolutely, of course.
And in your words, what can they expect? I mean, I can't, even after 9 years, I can't put it into words, but in your words, what can they expect when they register and go through it? Besides learning to overcome this behavior, but what's the experience all about?
The experience is not necessarily what you think. It wasn't really what I expected. I'm not sure what I expected, but I think the one thing and I remember saying to my boyfriend, I'm not sure if this is right, because it doesn't seem like very much. Like, I expected a lot more content. I expected to be doing a lot more. I expected to have to put like an hour of work in every single day for like months, and it's a lot less than what you expect. And initially that might make you skeptical, because it did actually really make me skeptical, because I was like, okay, there's 3 big exercises or 3 foundational exercises that I need to do, and then you just got to keep doing them until you have your breakthrough session. And I was like, I don't know if this is right, or maybe maybe it's a scam, you know. And even my boyfriend said, well, I don't know, that doesn't seem like much. But after I did it for the first 2 or 3 days, I thought, oh, okay, hang on a second, maybe I was a bit hasty. So it's not necessarily what you expect in the beginning, but just stick with the program, and it really it will surprise you. It really is. It's simpler than you think it is, which was a big realization for me, because I expected it to be a really big, long, complicated process of, like, probably because of my previous course that I did, but I expected to be delving into your subconscious and your previous experiences and your childhood and all of that stuff. But actually it doesn't. It just focuses on the solution, which is now, in hindsight, the best way to do it.
Well, I have to thank those who told me, and it's so I so much recognize what you say, because when I went through trainings myself, just to give an example, sometimes we had to do exercises with 3 people in a group, and then one would be the meta, that would be the person watching the other 2, one would be the client, and the other would be, as they call, the therapist or the coach.
Yeah.
And at some cases, I was watching as the meta, as the neutral person, and I thought, well, I don't know what I should think of this. And then I did an exercise for someone to help them, and they said, wow. And I thought, still, I don't know what to think about this. And then I was the client, and I brought in my, as you called, your shit, or something to work on, to grow. And I experienced an immediate, immense change in myself, not only there, but later on in my life as well, with how I started to act better for myself in terms of feeling happy and enjoying life.
Yeah.
And that's when I convinced myself through the experience, wow, change can really go very quick. And this is, such a debate that the general impression, as far as I'm concerned, is that you have to lay on a couch and share your whole, your whole life.
Yeah, and take
which
medication.
Is necessary, which is necessary, and the core needs to be addressed, which is those subconscious patterns. And they're great fun. It's something, as far as I'm concerned, we should all learn in school. But all I can say is what I started to do is, after years of studies and immersing myself, that I only started to work with people with trichotillomania, and I could make it simple with combining that experience with the patterns that I run into with people that suffer from this behavior, and then come up with a program that's really nice to support you. So Now, when I ask the final question, please close your eyes.
Okay.
And it just comes up spontaneously. I haven't prepared anything of this. Now, think of the Nicola before, right? And how it could continue. And then think of someone that may have lost hope or is still struggling. And what would you like to say to that person that is still struggling with this behavior? Anything, to inspire that person, to help that person, anything. What would you like to say to that person to hopefully help them or her to change or turn their life around?
You're not weird. That's the first thing, because that's what I really was struggling with, was that I felt like I was weird. And you're not. You're really not. It's your coping mechanism, and everybody's got a coping mechanism. Some people drink, some people do drugs. We pull our hair out. It's no big deal. It really isn't. But you need to face up to it. You need to face your demons, as they say. And if everybody's a work in progress, and everybody should be striving to grow and to become better and to become the best version of yourself that you can be. And you will be that person. You will be on the path to being that person, definitely, when you face up to this behavior, and you own it, and you get rid of it on your own. Because hiding from it because that's what we all try and do. We all just try and hide from it and just, go, oh shit, I pulled out 5 hairs, whatever. Okay, carry on. And then we hide, when actually that's the wrong approach. You need to actually just look at it in the face and go, right, I'm actually going to deal with this right now. And just do it. Just suck it up and just do it. It sucks, and unfortunately we have a weird affliction that other people don't have, and unfortunately actually that a lot of people do have, but a lot of people don't talk about. But and other people might not see it as normal or whatever it is, but who cares? It's just people don't know where you're coming from. People don't know what you've been through. People don't know who you are. So, back yourself up and just deal with it.
I'm smiling and laughing because I so much recognize what you say. And no, serious. One of the persons that inspired me at a young age was Anthony Robbins in the USA. And he gave the metaphor as, you're looking at your garden and you see the weeds and you say, they're not there. It's not there. It's not there.
Yeah.
He said, in the meantime, it's taking over your whole garden.
Exactly. But that's exactly it. We hide from it. It's just, it's hiding from it and pretending like it's not there is not, it's stopping you from seeing the bigger picture. And once you actually look at it and you go, okay, what is this actually doing to me? And what is it going to do to me in the future? Then suddenly you start to see the long path that you have ahead of you of negativity and just not dealing with it. And then suddenly it strikes a chord and you kind of look at it and go, oh shit, that's not really what I had planned, but that's actually exactly where I'm headed. And I think that shock factor helps a lot to sort of kickstart you to dealing with it.
And once you go full on, which is what the whole program is to help you with, how quickly can you actually change?
Weirdly surprisingly quickly. I think it's a decision that you make, and you've just got to make a firm decision that actually I'm not going to let this own me anymore. I'm going to own it. And I think once you make that decision and you see what your life could be like when you overcome this, it's a powerful mechanism to help you overcome this.
I'd like to finish this off, and maybe you want to finish it off as well. Again, I'm reminded, you triggered this in me by what Anthony Robbins said when I was a young boy. He said it's in the moment of your decision that your destiny is shaped.
Yeah.
And I can only say with all the classes that I took, a lot around behavior, but also, stepping up in my own life, which is behavior in itself as well, to face your demons. What I had to learn is to go full on as well for things. And I learned that from people who learned it from others, who passed it on.
Yeah.
That once we do this, I think this is a general principle. We surprise ourselves how quickly we can make things happen. There are a lot of examples in my own life where that happened, and I surprised myself. And I think it's true in any environment, but sometimes we need a gentle, loving push.
Yeah.
But once we do it, there's so much power in us, and then it's a matter of going for it and, getting the tools to help you achieve what you want.
Exactly. Yeah.
Any final words from you? I think you already said them. I'm just summarizing what you just said. But.
No, just thank you. It's amazing. It's amazing that you don't even have this condition, and you're dedicating your life to helping people with it. It's amazing, and there needs to be more people who do this.
Well, I lose my in a natural way, but it's a surprise. I'd like to finish this because if you would have met me 20 years ago, and you would have told me that I started to help people with this first in the Netherlands, and then I committed myself at a certain stage that I wanted to help as many people in the world as I could. And so I started to create a team, and we're now at this time of the recording with 8 people in 6 countries. But I also realized that wasn't enough. So I started to incorporate, after I think 6 or 7 years, all my knowledge that I'd built up around this behavior into programs. Because I attended the program from someone one day, and I realized this is a complete better way of learning because you can repeat things.
Yeah.
But I wanted to add personal assistance always, because it's very important that what you learned, you apply it correctly. But the reason why I resonated so strongly and I started to commit myself in that process is after I started to help that first person, because I realized how devastating this behavior is for quality of life, and how people are fighting themselves for years and years and years in shame, hiding. And the flip side is, celebrating life, living every day as much as possible to the fullest of your potential and enjoying it as much as possible. And I know there are always challenges, but this is that drives me in my life to grow and be the person I want to be and live that as much as I can, and also be an example to my own child.
Yeah.
And but that's what I wish. So I resonated very strongly when I met someone who was doing behavior that was the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And And then more people started to contact me, and then they said, well, I've tried, for example, this kind of therapy, and it didn't work. How is this different? And I thought, well, I probably know what they refer to. And then they came to see me, and for example, they said cognitive behavioral therapy. And I thought, well, I probably know what they did or can expect what they did. And it was something completely different because wording is so challenging. And then I realized also that there is not a lot of great help in this world available for this topic. And there are two devastating opinions. One is a great opinion that you can overcome it. And if you believe that,
yes.
you start to act and, you can set yourself free. You have a chance. And if you believe you can't, and there's also a big group around on this planet that says you can't. And if you believe those, you stay where you are. You set yourself up for failure right from the start.
Yes.
And it's not that one group is right or wrong, but it does decide what you do and the things you can achieve. If you would have believed you could not overcome it, you would never have started with this program.
Yeah.
And that, the beliefs that we carry inside of us also are very important with everything that we do. And they're not always true as such, but they're the result of how we are conditioned and influenced. So the reason why I love doing this is because it will open the door to freedom and celebrate life and get out of that mental prison, in my words. And so I love to do that. And I dressed up tonight. You can't see me, but this is a special moment for me. No, serious, because I didn't know who I would meet, but it's such a blessing to be able to help people this way, and I'm very pleased. And you did it because you went for it.
Yeah.
So thank you for all your insights.
No, you're welcome.
I hope the recording succeeded.
Me too.
So we can share it with others. And I'm always here whenever you need help.
Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it.
Thank you for listening, and we sincerely hope you enjoyed this episode of Winning from Trichotillomania. If you'd like to receive more insights about this topic, simply subscribe to this podcast series so you receive the next episode as soon as we release it. For our free webinar training series and other resources, you can find us at treatmentfortrichotillomania.com.